They like, hey, you want to go to your trailer? I'm like, trailer? What you talking about? And there's a guy named Sean. Shout out to Sean. I'm going to get some coffee or whatever. He's like, yeah, I'll do it for you. I'm like, nah, bro, you ain't gotta do that for me. I got you. Like, no. Like, I'll get in trouble if you don't. Like, all right, cool. Like,
hey, that's
but
how
then
you
that's when I
supposed
started.
to live, man. That's Hollywood.
Bruh, Hollywood. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, I see why The Rock said, forget this wrestling, forget this football. I'm gonna go ahead and get in Hollywood.
Stack my money up like Legos. Bet me when I say so. Pull up in the spotlight. Pull up in the drive.
What's up, world? Y'all already know, man. You tuned in to another episode of Money, Music, Culture. You already know I'm sitting here with my dog, my ace boom coon B Cope. But look, man, you already know we got a special episode because we're gonna talk about B Cope, right? You done already seen this man, playing in front of 50,000 people and millions of people on I'm sorry, I'm about to say Super Bowl. We know he ain't never did that, but just any given Sunday, right? But crazy enough, we for the first time got to really see his face on the big screen, not just with a helmet on it, man. And one thing I will say, and I can't wait to ask my dog a few questions, but man, my dog on Netflix, bro. And the crazy part about it, I turned on my Netflix, you know what I'm saying? And I see my dog in the top 10, man. Look, we're talking about literally Shark Tank, but for real estate. And they got to have that one black guy in here, but he a little more swagged out than that boy Damon John, you feel me? So, Colt, man, tell me a little bit about Buy My House, bro. I need to understand how this whole thing came about, bro. Buy My House.
Man. Yeah, Buy My House. Shout out to Netflix. Shout out to Critical Content, the production company, and shout out to my castmates, man. But Buy My House was came from the production company reaching out via email, DM, and multiple emails, and I get show requests and things like that all the time, and sometimes if I'm in season, I might not ever see it. Sometimes, if I'm out of season, I might not ever see it with just DMs and emails stacking up, especially you get to a busy stretch of the year. And I'm fortunate, Billy, shout out to Billy, he was persistent in reaching out, and we were able to get on the phone, talk about the concept, talk about the idea. At that time, that was one of the things that was interesting to me, is like he told me, hey, this is already greenlit with Netflix. I think he kind of knew, you gotta, he was trying to make sure that he understood that, or that I understood that they were serious and they had done this before. And Critical Content, their production company, me having a production company, like I'm picking their brain. They've done shows like Catfish, and which has been, one hell of a series and had a hell of a run. And so, once they reached out, we started doing things like chemistry tests. And at first it was an interview with just the production team. Then, once they were like, all right, cool, this dude's not a complete jackass. Let's go ahead and do a chemistry test and basically put him on a call with some of the other castmates or potential castmates. And, we simulated a couple of different buyers and how we would approach that and see how we, vibe with each other, right? And whether we cussed each other out or, see who would actually work well on camera. And then I guess I did good enough there for them to say, hey, we want you to be one of the four that made it. So
let's go.
Yeah.
So wait, on that process, were there other people that they thought could be castmates that didn't make it? Like, were you at any point in time on a Zoom with someone who didn't end up making it to the show?
Yeah, so my chemistry test, we had 4 people on it. I won't say all of their names to protect, their own.
Boy, we want to know.
Personals.
We want to know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's all right.
I'll say this. One was a billionaire. One was a billionaire. I'll say that. Think of a real estate billionaire. There's probably plenty, but one of the other people on the show, on the chemistry test, made it to the show as well, Denisha Wrightster. Going through the chemistry test, obviously you said it the best at times, is like, as a football player, I think when we had a conversation about NFTs, you said, you got to strip your cool cloak off. And also when it comes to money, you got to strip your cool cloak off And, at the time, I don't think I necessarily understood. Well, I understood that I was auditioning, but I don't think I took it super duper seriously, right? In the sense of like I wasn't like up at night and, oh man, how do I prepare for this? How do I work for this, right? Um, but 50% of the people from my chemistry test made it. I know they had multiple of those with other people. And so, I'm fortunate, because I always wanted to say, hey, if I'm going to do this, I got to be myself. And so I didn't want to do too much prepping and all of that type of stuff. Like I just wanted to walk on and be me. And fortunately, it worked out.
Well, look, man, I think we all know, right? One thing, and I was saying this in one of our other episodes, is just how, much respect you get amongst your football peers as being someone who truly knows what to do with their money and also have been preparing for life after football since day one, right? And one of the things you really love doing is real estate. So when I saw, the show coming about, I'm like, yo, who better, especially on the athletic side, than B Cope? Because you started out when you was at Detroit doing some fix and flips, but now you're doing big commercial real estate and multi units. Let's talk about your experience in real estate and why you think you were picked for the show, and talk about like how that experience actually helped you.
Yeah, no, I think that one, why I was picked for the show, that's probably an easier question to answer. I think one, obviously I bring a different lens and perspective than most of the other people up there, right? You know, although I think most people look at Brandon Copeland, I refer to myself in third person because I'm just thinking about the comments and the
No, you Hollywood, like that, bro. Right? You Hollywood. You Brandon Copeland now.
Nah, bro.
You go ahead, talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit.
So most people, yeah, you're right about that. Most people look at Cope as like, oh, this dude's in the NFL. He's on Netflix. He's made it. He's done this, right? But they don't understand that, Cope also interned in high school for $7.45 an hour, right? In the summers for 3 summers, right? Also, freshman year of college, worked night shift at Walmart, $8.45 an hour, which you have to do a dollar above minimum wage you have to be above minimum wage when you work in the night shift. So that was with that. Now, also Social Security Administration at the time for during the day. So I would do night shift at night, and then literally get off, go take like a 30, 45-minute nap, go to Social Security Administration out in Woodlawn, Maryland, work there, intern there, then go train in the summers in college, bouncing at Smokes, Smokes, the campus bar,
yeah,
so to speak, in college on Thursday nights before the game. You never had real friends.
And you was one of the littlest bouncers. I used to just, hey, move out my way, bro, so I could get in the club. Excuse me. Get your little ass out there.
That black, ready for that action. But they see where we are today, but they don't see like hey, we've worked to make this happen, right?
Facts.
So with that being said, right, like although I'm still on the NFL platform, I've been able to work and take NFL money and create businesses from that, right? I still speak for us. I speak for I speak for the people. And so, being up there on that stage, that was one thing. But then two, when you talk about building our real estate business out, I say our because it's the team behind me. It's myself, my wife, Taylor, and the family who makes this whole thing run. But we started with doing fix and flips in Detroit. 2017 was our first one. We did co-investments with people. So a lot of people think, hey, I gotta be able to buy the whole house myself to do the flip, right? There's a bunch of different lending options out there. You can find a ton of information on that. But also I tell people you should definitely, if you want to get into the real estate industry and you have no idea where to start, one, you need to do some research, get that knowledge. But two, co-investing is a simpler way to put money behind a project with a mentor, with somebody that actually knows what the hell they're doing, and then to learn while they're doing it. So we did fix and flips for the first, we've been doing that for years actually. And then after about a year and change, probably about a year and a half time, I'm just always looking of like, how can I grow this? And I'm starting to see some of my mentors, they're doing apartment buildings. And I'm like, oh, that's different right there.
Oh, God.
So, worked with a buddy of mine, Tyre Whitehead. We invested in flips in Detroit together, also in New Jersey. But him and I, we do a lot of business together, venture as well too. We invested and bought into a development company called Mid Atlantic Investment Alliance in Newark, New Jersey. We also bought into the construction company. So the difference with our development company is we not only can go plan a project, get the architectural drawings done and all that type of stuff, go get the land zoned properly and all of that stuff, but then we also have the ability to own the construction side as well. So now we can build
Wow.
our shit too, right?
It's next level. That's next level.
I appreciate it.
That's
And
next level.
yeah, it's trying to make sure that we, as the business say, vertically integrated, right? But more importantly, it's trying to make sure that we have as much control over the project as possible, and we can take in other funds to help build things. And we're working on a vehicle that can take in everybody's funds if you choose to invest with us, right? But now that is a different level, quote unquote, like outside of just a one-off rental here and there. This is like we got a 41 unit being built right now. We got a 12 unit that just got green lit. We're working on a 16 unit and a 66 unit. We also, our real estate company, specifically my family's real estate company, we've invested in, we got an 88 unit 3 blocks away from the beach in Ventura, California, right? And so, seeing that was something. Oh, damn, we got plenty of tenants now, right? And then now the last step of the evolution, so to speak, is commercial land development, which literally, for those who aren't familiar with that like has blown my mind. That has attracted my mind so much, is taking and buying acres of land and zoning them properly, getting all of the entitlements and all of that type of stuff that you need to be able to build certain commercial buildings, and then going out and either selling those pieces of land and breaking up the land into different pieces to sell, and or creating joint venture agreements around pieces of land. So hey, if I got 100 acres, I'm gonna create this JVA, this joint venture agreement with this developer on 40 of those acres, and you're gonna go pay me for the land because I've already done all the work, right? And most of the time you're gonna pay me an upcharge for it. I'm gonna get profit and make my money back there. But now we're in this thing together. So I also want to own 15%, 20%, 25% of whatever you build and do here on this property in this project. And when you're talking commercial, you're talking, hey, we're building FedEx build distribution center, Amazon last mile center, and these tenants, right? They're still tenants. The same way, you got auntie living up the street and that's a tenant in the duplex, right? They're still tenants, but these tenants are signing triple net leases, right? Which basically mean you as the landlord don't have to worry about anything but collecting that profit at the end of the month. They're handling all the maintenance.
So wait a minute, bro. Wait, you're not just gonna say a word that everybody don't know, G. What's triple net lease, bro?
So triple net leases, these are the most amazing types of leases in the world, in my opinion. So triple net lease means that the tenant, whoever's paying for that property, they have to handle 3 things, right? Real estate taxes, like all your taxes and all of that type of stuff, fees. They handle the maintenance on the building, and they also handle the insurance. So typically when I'm paying for let's say I'm buying a townhome or a duplex that I'm renting out to people, me as the owner of that building, right, as a tenant, you come in, you pay your rent. You're trying to make sure that as the owner of the building that, the rent cost that you're charging is covering all of these costs and then some, right? Triple net lease, the one thing that doesn't cover though, like if a pipe bursts, right, that's on the owner typically, right? In these commercial projects, triple net lease means, Amazon doesn't want me fixing the problem, right? Like they don't trust me to fix the problem in this beautiful building that they've built for themselves, right? We gonna handle that, right? Like we need this building to last forever, not just, for your cousin to come through here and fix this thing up. So they're gonna handle the maintenance, they're gonna handle the insurance, and they're gonna handle the real estate taxes. And so at the end of the month, what we're getting straight profit, straight cash, homie. Now, obviously, it's ACH transfer, all of that stuff, but you guys get my point. So, so that, starting in flips, Still dabbling there when we need to, right? Cash flow. Graduating to multifamily. Love it. Learning as much as I possibly can about it and continue to learn as we continue to build that portfolio up. And then now seeing this commercial land development, that has me like, whoa, hold up. This is how they've been doing it for all these years? Like, like our land, we got some land down in Tampa. I'll call out the county another episode, right? But we got over 300 acres down in Tampa. And when I tell you, like, the potential tenants there, Super Target, McDonald's, Wawa, Circle K, and then I know Home Depot and Lowe's are like trying to, like, they're bidding for it type of thing, right? And I'm like, oh, like this is interesting. Publix is up the street, and we don't own that area or anything like that, but Publix being such a landmark down here in Florida, they're getting the city to expand the roadway because this is an undeveloped area. So now they're going to increase the foot traffic. We have a 245 acre plot of land, and this is group economics, people. This isn't Brandon Copeland by himself, right? This is group economics. It's the only way these things are done. The 245 acre plot, we have a 40 acre piece of that a developer out of Atlanta wants to come down and build about 900 units. They want to do it in two different phases, 530 and then 370, I want to say. That 40 acres and the sale and transaction on that 40 acres alone will be paying for the entire cost of the 245 acres. Wow. And profit. And so now we will have a decision to make as an ownership group of like, okay, hey, McDonald's is here. We will do that as a ground lease. Basically, McDonald's every single year will be paying us money to lease the ground and the land that it's on, right? They own their buildings. Do we want to take this and sell it to somebody else for a big chunk of change? Say, hey, this is worth X amount of millions of dollars. Or do we want to keep that cash flow and split it up yearly? But now you have McDonald's, you have the Wawa's cash flow, you have the Circle K, you have the Super Target, and over, once you lump all of these businesses and that cash flow together, now again, one plot of land, a large plot of land, with a lot of coordination, a lot of work, a lot of things that have to go into getting it zoned properly and entitled properly to do it, going and getting farmers to want to sell their land and things like that. Once we've done that, those are the types of conversations and the decisions we'll have to make. But now these leases, again, there'll be 20-year leases potentially.
Well, I think I'll speak for everybody. Is like, bro, you are very well equipped. So let's talk about Netflix, right? Because you've seen it from, residential to commercial to land development. Like, so now you sitting on there, right? And one of the things that I love most is like, you literally, and I was kind of making a joke, but you really Damon John sitting next to Mark Cuban of this shit. Like, that was the dope realm. Yeah. So like, talk about it, bro. You sitting next to the CEO of Redfin. Like, bro, y'all are literally competing to buy. Like, explain the show, explain some of the biggest lessons you learned, one of your best purchases. Like, talk to us.
Yeah, no, the show is as you mentioned earlier, a real estate version of Shark Tank. So instead of people coming and pitching their businesses, they're pitching their homes. Mm-hmm. Now, as an investor...
Question, yep. Right? I understand Shark Tank, right? The idea a person is going, because they can't necessarily go to their bank and get money. They definitely can't go to, private equity or venture capital, whatever, for those businesses. Help me understand why a person going to come on Buy My Home rather than list it on, I don't know, Redfin or hire let us know that too.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think one, honestly, the opportunity to be on a show like Netflix, I think that, I've had a couple of friends who've been on Shark Tank, and they talk about like the exposure that show gave them and their business alone, even though they might not have gotten a deal done on Shark Tank, it helped amplify their business and help get other investors attracted to their business. Right now, this is a home. And especially in a very, at the time we shot, right, like a heightened real estate market, a historically amazing real estate market, right? Like, why would somebody hold off selling their home to come on the show? Well, I think it's mostly because, hey, I can put my home on the market tomorrow and still probably command the offer that I'm looking for or the dollars that I want. So,
But one,
once,
wasn't a
yep,
thing been like y'all also was gonna be paying cash for it, so that's like an added bonus, like
yeah, yeah,
probably, and they
100%.
probably will retain more money in the sense of like not having to hire a real estate
Realtor.
agent who's gonna take
Yep.
so and it's the realtor on both sides, the buyer's realtor and stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that
Yeah.
was
So you're
a
saving,
good
yeah,
portion too.
because that was a lot of times within the pitch as well too. Is like you're saving 6% right there on the sale of your home. Because as a when you're selling a house, the seller pays the real estate commission, so they have to pay the
Yep.
buyer's broker and their broker, and typically it's 3%. On each
On
side.
both
So
sides.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean 6% right there that you get to keep in your pocket, and on some of these homes, that's a lot of money
Home,
to
bro.
keep in your pocket. So
Home, bro.
I think that right there is one major reason too. Um, and so I think that the experience, one, sitting next and being on the same stage as some of those people, us, Ross, like we're competitors, right? Like in every sense of the word, I want to compete, but we're also smart enough to know when to pay homage, take notes, and
Yeah.
find a new buddy, a new business partner, a new mentor
Yeah.
as well.
I'm still
And
trying to
so,
meet your dude off Redfin. What you talking
oh, say no
about?
more. We're gonna have him on the podcast soon.
You better know it.
Yes, 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 Lord. So, that was the there were three extremely tough things, but two of them I'll highlight really quickly. One, uh, competing with people that you want to learn more from, right? Like at the time, I remember Pam Liebman, CEO of the Corcoran Group, amazing, amazing person, right? Like I remember, her getting off the phone and she's closing up on like a 9-figure sale in Hawaii, and I'm
Jesus.
like, damn. Like, all right, cool. Like, I'm sitting there talking about these multifamily youth closing on 9 figures. Like, not, ooh,
Yeah.
okay, all right. We can go there too. So I think one, that exposure to that is interesting, but two, it's like, all right, well, like let's talk about that, right? So competing with people who you learn from, right,
Yeah.
and you respect. So that's one thing. Two, um, as a real estate investor, I don't meet the sellers of homes because I don't care,
Facts.
right? Like this is business, and Brandon Marshall has said it before. We got to take the emotion out of business at times. Ross, like we talked about before, you come to we have a foundation. We give away hundreds of thousands of dollars. We help people all the time. Financial education is part of the reason why we do what we do, right? We want to help people, but when it comes to business, you got to draw a line because you will get taken advantage of. And so, being in this different situation where now the sellers are walking in, and you can't really pick their house apart in front of them. You can, but that's not my heart, my nature. If I'm walking through a property with my contractor, we going, man, look at this. Why is this there? What is that? Boom, we got to blow this wall out. What the fuck was this? Why, like you going through it and you picking it apart, right? And you're trying to figure out ways as an investor, how can I drive the valuation of this home down so that this owner sells it to me for as least as possible? But now you're sitting there looking at the owner who has gone through life in this house, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't talk about what there was one woman, she had clocks in every room, right? And she went through a battle with leukemia, and she put a clock in every room to represent the time she had left on earth. Like every room she went into, she wanted to remember that time was precious and to appreciate it. So it wasn't just sitting down in the living room anymore and just like wasting time. It's like, no, like I'm reading a book and I'm like enjoying this book because I don't know if I'm gonna get to do this 2 years from now, right? That's a different type of pressure. Like, how am I gonna come in and just lowball your home, right? How am I gonna come in and pick your home apart? So that is another thing that was I was challenging, but I also say was interesting experience. You know what
Come
I'm
say
saying?
interesting story, Bethany, but I'm gonna have to offer you $100K less.
Look, we can't go broke over here now. We ain't going broke for the gram, for the TV, for the flicks, right? Yeah, nah. And then I think the third and final thing was, again, we're in a historically high real estate market, and then now you got people, and they like, look, like, well, shoot, I'm about to sell to the CEO of Redfin or the CEO of the Corcoran Group or this NFL player or Denisha Wrightster, right? Like,
So they trying to
yeah.
get it
So
for the highest.
you came in, and my housing price was already high, but now it's the cameras on. Woo-hoo. Let me go ahead and add some more, right? And so again, all things that you deal with and you work through, but those were the challenges and the experiences, or the interesting experiences of it. Now the positive stuff, and I would even consider that positive because again, it's all growth and learning lessons, right? Like now the positive side of it, I don't know if they knew who I was, right? Like when I say that, like I showed up and I'm like, they like, hey, you want to go to your trailer? I'm like, trailer? What you talking about? Like I showed up like we show up to a normal production shoot. Like I bring my suitcase, I put it in the corner. Like where y'all got a little bathroom? Where the bathroom? So I go change my shirt. Hey, you got a trailer, sir? Where you got? You got hair and makeup at this time. You got this. Boom, boom,
That's
boom.
hot.
Oh, for real? I go in the trailer, brother. They had like the trailer set up. I'm like, okay, cool. This is dope. I go in the trailer. We might need to get some B-roll for this clip, right? I'm in the trailer. They got snacks, all that stuff, shower, toilet, everything. You know, everything you could want in the trailer, right? Your wardrobe.
Hollywood.
And then I'm like, bruh, Hollywood. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, oh, I see why The Rock said, forget this wrestling, forget this football. I'm gonna go ahead and get in Hollywood. And so I remember I'm like, oh, I need to grab some lunch. And so coffee and lunch or something like that. And so I literally leave the trailer, like I'm going to leave, and there's this guy named Sean. Shout out to Sean. He's was our assistant, so to speak, that day. I don't even know all the terminology and stuff. And he's like, where you going? I'm like, oh, I'm about to go grab a coffee. Like I'm going to the stages and all that stuff to grab a coffee. At the time they were shooting a movie with Jesse from Breaking Bad. I can't remember what that movie was called. They were also shooting Stranger Things.
Wow.
At the time, the most recent season of Stranger Things. Yeah. So this is like, I'm like, wow, this is dope.
What city?
And so
what city
anyway, I'm
you
going
in?
to get the coffee. This is Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Facts.
Don't sound
Yeah.
too exciting, but when you think of Stranger Things and all the scenes, you're like, oh, okay,
Makes sense.
Makes some sense. But
Breaking Bad. Oh, make fucking sense.
yeah, exactly. So I'm going to get some coffee or whatever. He's like, well, what you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just go grab some coffee, grab something to drink real quick. Yeah, I'll do it for you. I'm like, nah, bro, you ain't got to do that for me. I got you. Like, no. Like, I'll get in trouble if you don't. Like, what do you need? How many? I'm just like, damn. Like, all right, cool. Like,
Hey, that's
but
how
then
you
that's when I
supposed
started.
to live, man. That's cope, man. That's how you supposed to be in show business, man. I love it.
It was nice. It was nice, brother. And the final thing I'll share with you about that experience, right? Like, us, we ask questions, like we learning, right? Like seeing how other people do it. And so, the guy, Sean, again, shout out to Sean. He was amazing, man. And we had Sophia. They have been on other sets and other productions, right? And so they had been on sets with The Rock and, Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart and things like that, right? And so I'm like, how did they do it? So when I did it, we shot this maybe 14 days before training camp. So it's like, I still got to train. Like, I still can't slack. Like, we still got a real job to do, right? Like, this is nice and stuff for TV, but the way I get paid is on the football field. And so, my trainers came out with me. We'd be up in the morning at 4:30. We go. They got a lot of UFC fighters and boxers out in New Mexico. John Jones, Holly Holm, and a lot of gyms. So we go to the gym. We train our tail off, getting ready for a season. We go home, shower, do hair and makeup at 7, shoot for about 12 hours, or maybe more. Well, no, I don't know if we do more, but by about 4:30 or 5, be wrapping up, go back, change in the trailer, go to another workout, because I'm a 2-a-day guy before, training camp comes. So ended up doing that. and had to do that literally 10 days straight. So that was another thing, just being mentally, physically tired, like getting home at 10 something from the gym and being like, all right, we got to go to sleep and do this again.
How
right? But your
long?
trainers,
How long were you on set? Like, how long was that filming process?
at least the thing when we were, the whole process was 10 days.
Wow.
It was a 10-day shoot. We had one break day in between. So 9 days of shooting, 1 day of rest type of thing. And again, amazing experience. And that's when I found out, like, you know, because the people there were like always so surprised, I think, at the discipline, right? There was one day where I had to work out upstairs above the stage, like in the offices and stuff like that. Like I just worked out there, and I had my trainer come there, and you know, they were talking to me about how, like, The Rock, like, he has a gym that is like packed up as a trailer, and it gets shipped wherever he goes. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm shooting a movie over in Australia, y'all go ahead, pack this bad boy up and get it over there. Like, his gym, Iron Paradise, goes with him wherever he goes, which I was like, yo, this is dope. You know, so it was just interesting hearing how I see why some people love that life and that shooting, because you literally are catered to. You know, you are the star.
Yeah.
And even for me, for 10 days, it felt, I was like, dang, you know, I can get used to this, although I could use a little extra sleep.
Hey, that's so dope, bro. I love the sound of it, man. So what would you say was the best and the worst part of filming?
Yeah, the best part, you know, it sounds cliche, but meeting the castmates. Like, we still have a group text to this day. We talk literally at least once a month. We're all talking. We've gotten on joint Zooms and stuff like that together. But, you know, for me as a up and coming real estate investor, right, being able to talk with Glenn about different things, talk with Pam, talk with Denisha and I, we jump on the line all the time and just talk shop and talk about other things that she's doing as well too, right? And so that's definitely got to be the best piece. You know, I'd also say, like, you know, like, people reaching out and enjoying the show. You know, that's a pretty cool feeling, right? Like, you ultimately, you know, like, people are shooting things and you don't know what is going to be cut up and taken from it. So, you know, you kind of are a little nervous, but ultimately, you know, the fact that people that have reached out, I guess not too many people will reach out if they hated it either, but ultimately people reaching out and enjoying the show, that's been amazing as well too. Worst part of the experience was definitely the schedule. You know, it wasn't adding the workouts on, you know, that definitely didn't help at all. But I also remember reading about LeBron James shooting Space Jam and how he would train during the shooting. And then I also read about Michael Jordan and how he would train during the shooting, and everybody was amazed at his work ethic and all that stuff. So I was like, you know, I'm inspired by them. Yeah, I ain't saying I'm Mike or LeBron.
So we got Michael.
I'm trying to get like
that. So we got MJ, Bron, and Colt. Yeah,
hey,
you up there with the goats, huh?
Your words, brother. Listen, brother. We trying to make something shake. So yeah, man, it's been, yeah, it was one hell of an experience.
Man, that's crazy, man. Well, look, people, if you can't tell that I'm inspired by this, then I know that y'all inspired, man. Make sure y'all go on here, go over to Netflix, and go see Buy My House. It's a series. You got a couple times. Call your boo over and make sure you watch Buy My House, man. Support B Cope. It's an amazing show. I love it. I know y'all gonna love it. And without further ado, B Cope, man, take us out, dog.
Listen, man. In the words of the great Ross Mack, man, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode, right? If anybody needs to learn about that Netflix experience or that production experience, make sure you share this with them. But more importantly as well, too, you make sure you share this with that kid in the 2nd grade that used to bully you, that girl in 3rd grade that told you wasn't going to be shit, that teacher that always gave you an N for needs improvement when you know it was at least satisfactory. You make sure you go ahead and share this with them, man. Money, Music, Culture, another episode. We'll see y'all next time.
Let's go.